Hello, at-home scholars. I hope this message finds you well. To say the last 2 weeks or so have been interesting would be a very, very large understatement. Our day-to-day routines have changed dramatically due to health and safety concerns in our communities surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. These changes have put us all in a very unique situation, and each day we have a decision to make. Do we adjust and adapt to this new version of school, setting ourselves up for as much success as possible, or do we let the circumstances dictate our ability to learn? My name is Dan Jascott, the president of Empower Leadership, and today we're going to discuss some strategies that will help you overcome any barriers to success when learning from home. Since 2009, the Empower Leadership team and I have led adventures for groups and individuals to help them build the necessary leadership skills to overcome the challenges they face on a day-to-day basis in the real world. I'm very excited to present this information to you today because I would have handled this situation horribly when I was in middle or high school. To keep the story short, I'll get right to the point. I would have spent way too much time playing John Madden football or NHL hockey on PlayStation with my brothers, trying to get outside to play as much sports as possible with my neighborhood friends, and definitely watching way too much of the New York Yankees every night. Instead of keeping up with my schoolwork, I would have put myself in a huge hole when school was back to normal. I didn't have this information when I was in middle or high school, but I hope the empowerment tools we review today will help you be best prepared to overcome this unique challenge and succeed to the best of your abilities. Thank you for joining and enjoy. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, adventure is defined as an unusual, exciting, and possibly dangerous activity, trip, or experience, or the excitement produced by such activities. Are the changes to our daily routine due to the COVID-19 pandemic unusual and possibly dangerous? Absolutely. Would you consider these changes to be exciting as well? Adventure is less about physical activity and more about our choices and how we view challenge. You have been forced to make a change from your Monday through Friday routine, as school will now take place from home. Moving past the facts that you do not have to get up early to catch a bus or a ride to school, and that you can do school from your comfortable clothes, it is important to realize that when there is change, challenges follow. We are going to take a moment to do a quick visualization exercise. Close your eyes and imagine being on a beautiful island. Clear skies, plenty of sun, and just enough wind to keep you comfortable. You are listening to your favorite music and calming sounds from the ocean. You have your favorite food and snacks by your side, and you think, does it get any better than this? Suddenly, the temperature drops, the wind picks up, and it starts to downpour. The driving rain and high winds shock your system, waking you up from a quick nap and forcing you to quickly grab your phone, beach towel, food and snacks, and run for cover. Your body shivers from the sudden storm. It takes almost an hour before you can calm back down and relax. Now open your eyes. Not too comfortable, was it? We had no control over the situation on the beach. All we know is that it took us completely out of a comfortable moment and into a short time of chaos, discomfort, and panic. It is in our human nature to be uncomfortable during times of change, sometimes to a point where we avoid change entirely. If I have learned one important bit of information from my 11 years as a leader at Empower Leadership, it would be that nothing exceptional happens when we remain comfortable. Our greatest accomplishments, those that we are most proud of, are the accomplishments that require us to break free from comfort and push ourselves to do that which is challenging, that which is uncomfortable. It is only when we push ourselves into our stretch zone that we begin to discover our ability, our true strengths and weaknesses, and our potential. Back in 2009, I reconnected with a great friend from high school, Joe Durant. Joe, after serving our country as a captain in the United States Army, founded Empower Leadership, and he hired me in February of 2009. That April, we started our journey of empowering people through adventure experiences, ziplining, tree climbing, team building games, and much, much more. I have learned a ton about leadership from Joe over the past 11 years, including his most famous lesson that the single most important skill an individual must have is their ability to lead themselves through challenge, adversity, fear, and temptation. That is called Level 1 Leadership of Self. Leadership of self is a foundation for our ability to lead. Before we can think about effectively leading others, for example, as a class president or a team captain, we have to be able to effectively lead ourselves. While Level 1 leadership is a foundational skill, it is far from easy. Level 1 leadership opportunities are always present. We make hundreds of decisions on a daily basis, some of them good, some of them bad, that define our ability to lead ourselves through challenge, adversity, fear, and temptation. As a matter of fact, our character is defined by our Level 1 leadership skills. Would you rather be considered someone who cuts corners, cheats, takes the easy way out, and lies to cover themselves? Or would you rather be someone who works hard, does things the way they are supposed to be done, does not quit when things get tough, makes the most out of their abilities and skills, and is honest? I know which one I would rather be. The most challenging part of being a great leader of self is that our mind likes to play its tricks on us. As we discussed earlier, our brain does not like the state of discomfort caused by change. Our brain has a powerful grasp over what our body does and will do anything to keep us comfortable, which is why self-leadership is so challenging. However, learning to lead oneself through challenge is just like learning any new skill. The more we practice, the better we become at the craft. The more time spent out of our comfort zone, the more we maximize our skills and potential. Alrighty, we're going to take a quick break for another activity here. So please stand up away from your workstation and find a small open space in your house, big enough so that you can put your arms out to your side, kind of spread out, loosen up a little bit. And then I'm going to ask, so we start off, we're going to have you stand up nice and tall, have your feet about shoulders width apart, and just rest your arms by your side for the starting point. All right, everybody in a good position. Before we begin, please take a look around and make sure you're not going to knock anything off of any walls and get me in trouble here at home. So want to make sure you're safe and that everything around you is safe. All right, we're going to start with some simple arm rotations. So please put your arms out to your side so that they're parallel to the ground, and begin with some small forward arm circles. And we're going to go for about 5 seconds. All right, and keep those arm circles going, and we're going to gradually make them larger and larger until we get to full arm circles. And we're going to go for another 5 seconds here. All right, your arm circles should be as large as they can get. And we got 3, 2, and 1. All right, nice job. Nice job. Now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to start with small backwards arm circles. So we're going to go for 5 seconds, backwards arm circles. Go ahead. And just like before, we're going to grow our arm circles so they get larger and larger until we're at full arm circles. We're going to keep those big arm circles going. Another 3, 2, and 1. All right, tremendous job, everybody. We're off to an awesome start right here. All right, we're going to stay up out of our chairs. Please don't sit back down just yet. And I want you to keep your arms out so that they're parallel to the ground, just like we did at the start of the arm circles. Next, we're going to have you rotate your upper body to the left. want you to keep your feet on the ground about shoulders width apart and turn your upper body to the left as far as you can. And once you hit that spot, we're going to hold that for 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, tremendous job. And now we're going to do the same thing to the right side. So keep your feet on the ground, shoulders width apart. Turn your upper body to the right as far as you can. And once you hit that spot, we'll do a hold for 5 seconds. All right, everybody should be there. Now, while you're back there holding that position, pick an object in your house that your right hand is pointing to. And please remember that object. And we're going to hold it for another 2 seconds, 1 second. All right, back to the relaxed positions. You can drop your arms by your side. And next, we're going to do some slow neck rotations to the left. So slow and smooth, about 5 seconds. We're just going to roll our neck to the left-hand side there. 3, 2, and 1, and you can stop. And now we're going to reverse the neck roll. So we're going to go nice and slow, this time to the right for 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, great job, great job. Everybody should be feeling nice and loose right now. Now we're going to have you, again, set your arms out so that they're parallel to the ground, and we're going to do some continuous upper body rotations. So when we say go, we're going to have you start to the left and then quickly rotate your upper body back to the right and then back to the left, etc. And we're going to do 10 seconds of these continuous arm rotations. We really want you getting your upper body turning while you're keeping your feet on the ground in that shoulders width position. All right, you could begin those continuous upper body rotations now. 10 seconds. And 3, 2, and 1. All right, tremendous job, everybody. I know this is a little bit different right here, but we're going somewhere with it, and we have our last stretch coming up here, I promise. So take a minute, wiggle it out, shake out the arms a little bit, and then when you're ready, put your arms back out to your side, and we're going to go back to that first stretch we did. We're going to slowly rotate to your left until you cannot rotate any further. And we're going to hold that position for 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1, and now you can relax. And then take a nice deep breath, and we're going to slowly rotate again to the right side, this time as far as you possibly can. Once you stop, once you've hit that point, I want you to look at the object your right hand is pointing to. And now look at the object that your right hand pointed to the first time we did this activity. Is the second object a little bit further? I would bet money that it is. All right, take a moment, take a nice deep breath, and we're going to head back to the workstation to wrap up this slide. All right, again, tremendous job, everybody. And this is an example of a leadership of self exercise, believe it or not, because it shows us that with a little bit of practice and some time in our stretch zone, we can actually accomplish much more than we give ourselves credit for. Every time we lead ourselves through challenge, we unlock our true ability. We can't control the weather, but we can definitely control how we prepare for it. A big part of being a great leader of self is our ability to recognize the things that are in our control and those which are not in our control. Using our visualization exercise from earlier, remember the one with the beach? We had absolutely no control over the cold, rain, and wind that suddenly ruined our time on the beach. I do know that if we had prepared for it, for example, by having an umbrella and warm clothes, the moment of change and discomfort would not have been as tough on us. This COVID-19 pandemic has led to decisions made in our communities to help with the safety of all of us, and we have zero control over those decisions. Schools are temporarily closed, students must learn from home, and teachers must teach from home. That is the situation we find ourselves in. Now, as leaders, we have a choice. Do we let the circumstances dictate our performance and complain about those circumstances, or do we create our own circumstances and habits that will allow us to perform? I'd like to have you take a sheet of paper out And once you have your sheet of paper, I want you to draw one large circle in the center of your paper. Does not have to be a perfect circle. Just get a nice, a decent circle in the center of your paper there. Once you've completed your circle, please write down the following words inside of the circle. Word number 1 is thoughts. Word number 2, words. Word number 3, choices. Word number 4, effort. Word number 5, which is actually 2 words, so 5A and 5B, are actions and reactions. And then the final word is preparation. Word number 6 is preparation. So again, those words are thoughts, words, choices, effort, actions and reactions, and preparation. All right, inside of the circle should be filled up. Outside of the circle, you're going to write 2 words. Everything else. Again, you're going to write down the 2 words, everything else outside of your circle. Everybody good? Everybody got that taken care of? Perfect. Great job. Great job. Now, identifying what we can and cannot control is the most important element of self-leadership. When we focus on that which is not in our control, it becomes easy to make excuses, place blame, and settle for less than our best. When we own the controllables, we eliminate excuses and distractions. We set and achieve goals, and we are able to hold ourselves accountable to expectations. The first steps of you being able to control the controllable are to, number 1, know what you are trying to accomplish while away from school. Then, number 2, identifying potential barriers to you successfully accomplishing that goal or those goals. Full disclosure here before we start with this slide. When I was in middle school and high school, the high-end technology was a TI-83 calculator. It had a couple games on it, but it pretty much just did math. There were no laptops, tablets, cell phones, etc. I don't even think the internet was a thing until my senior year of high school. So take that with a grain of salt, because my list of potential challenges are based on conversations I've had with teachers and students that I've worked with at Empower Leadership. I highly recommend you to add to this list or change this list as needed. The list of potential challenges are, number 1, distractions. Number 2, breakdowns in integrity and accountability. Number 3, managing work versus playtime. Number 4, time management. And number 5, communication. We will go over each challenge and identify strategies or solutions for each challenge in the next few slides. We're going to start with strategies for overcoming distractions. Integrity and accountability are key here. Breakdowns in our ability to be honest and be accountable allow for distractions to disrupt us from what we are supposed to be doing in any given situation. The first step would be to identify potential at-home distractions. For me, I need to set up my home workspace as far as possible away from TV and away from food. I have a couple of issues with TV and food, big distractions. I bring all of the coffee, water, and snacks I need to work without distraction from the start of the day until lunchtime. When I break for lunch, I break for just lunch. The TV stays off while I make and then eat my standard peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yes, I eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day. It is also important to take ownership of your work time. During my work blocks, I allow myself one distraction, music. Music works as a focuser for me. I do not allow myself to scroll through Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and definitely avoid reading about the New York Giants offseason. It's just depressing. When I'm supposed to be working, I eliminate anything that will potentially get in my way. taking full ownership over my work time. When I own my work time, I am setting myself up to be accountable, doing what I am supposed to do when I am supposed to do so. And I'm making commitments, not excuses. Accountability is a skill in the arsenal of every tremendous leader that I have ever shared time with, from students and athletes to teachers and business owners. When we are at school, we have a very regimented and predictable schedule. We have our morning classes, maybe homeroom, then we break for lunch, then we head back to our classes after lunch, and then last we either head home or head out to our after-school activities. Now that we are learning from home, our schedule is quite a bit less predictable. It is absolutely critical that you're fully aware of your class schedule and tasks for the day or week. One strategy I use for organization, which is absolutely not one of my strengths, is to create a daily schedule for myself. I have a big notepad on my desk, and at the end of each day, I create an outline for what I think the next day will look like. While my plan doesn't always shake out to be perfect, doing such a plan allows me to wake up each day knowing that I have an outline, I'm confident that my workday will be productive, and that I will be accountable for the work I'm supposed to be doing. A big challenge with learning from home will be balancing synchronous classes with asynchronous classes. And don't worry, I had to practice saying those, and I definitely had to Google the definition for those two words. Synchronous means that your class will happen at a set time and that all of your classmates and your teacher will be tuning into the lesson together. Asynchronous classes mean that you will go through your classes and lessons at your own pace. Having a daily and even weekly schedule will help you keep track of your responsibilities during an at-home school week. You definitely do not want to earn a detention for missing classes when the class place takes in your own home. As stated on our previous slide, I make sure my workplace is different than my play space. My potential distractions, minus my music, are nowhere near my workspace. If we mix up our work and play spaces, we make it much harder for ourselves to overcome distractions. The last strategy is to actually build in breaks to get away from your desk, move around, and even disconnect from the work. If you think about it, a normal school day, you spend a couple minutes in between each class walking to different rooms and socializing with friends. Our class-to-class transition time, it might not add up to be a bunch of time. However, it does allow us to get up from our desk, interact with people in a less structured environment, and take a mental break from learning. It is 100% unrealistic to think that you can sit at your desk and stare at your computer for 7 or 8 hours straight and be productive. Build in short 3 to 5 minute breaks to walk outside and get some fresh air or to call a friend. Just make sure that you set a break time limit and hold yourself accountable to that limit. The last major challenge we have identified today is communication. Whether you'd like to admit it or not, your teachers are absolute geniuses. They must plan and lead classes all day to different groups of students while also being able to read the crowd. For example, most teachers can tell by the look on your face if you understand the new content that is being taught or if you're utterly confused. Now that you're learning from home, there will be limited, if any, face-to-face interactions between students and teachers. Do you think that will make communication easier or harder? If you guessed harder, you are absolutely correct. Oftentimes, a student may be embarrassed to raise her or his hand in class to say that they don't understand something. However, the teacher will see, quote-unquote, that look and be able to have a private conversation with the student to make sure that she or he is keeping pace with what is being taught. Because you won't be sharing classroom space with teachers, it is very important, and it's a great self-leadership challenge, to communicate regularly with your teacher about your progress at home. It may not be comfortable to do so, but as we learned earlier, there are great benefits from doing things that push us out of our comfort zone. To best communicate with your teachers, I have a couple recommendations. Number one, ask your teachers now to share the best way for you to communicate with them, whether it's email or online messaging, whatever it might be. But if you know the way your teacher will like to communicate, you'll be best prepared to communicate effectively with your teacher. Also, ask your teacher what the best times to communicate are. Sometimes teachers are really busy in the morning and emails could get lost in the shuffle. Sometimes teachers like to communicate early in the morning. Again, have a conversation with your teachers and find out their best times and methods of communication. That way there you have no excuse to not communicate with your teachers. If you know when and how to communicate with your teachers, you are set up to accept the self-leadership challenge of communicating effectively with your teachers. There's also a great benefit to at-home learning. You may have a parent, brother or sister or relative there who can help you out if you are struggling. Just remember, you are responsible for your own work. Asking for help, communicating that you need help is good. Having somebody do your work, not so good. The challenge has been identified and a leadership of self opportunity knocks. Learning to lead yourself is not a huge research project or some complex equation that's going to take you months to figure out. Our ability to lead ourselves through challenge, adversity, fear, and temptation is something that is developed from our daily actions. Are you ready to embrace challenge, overcome your comfort-seeking brain, and put your absolute best foot forward during this time of change? I am confident that if you utilize the tools in this presentation and commit to being your best each day that you're away from school, you will rise above and beyond this challenge and any future challenges you face. After a week or so of at-home school, I encourage you to connect with your teachers and classmates to discuss any challenges you have faced and what you have tried to do to overcome them. If you stick together, no challenge will be too large to overcome. Thank you again for joining me for this workshop. I hope the strategies are helpful for you during your school's closure and beyond. We are also very happy to help and provide support during this time of challenge. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email at dan@leadwithempower.com. Thank you again, and from our team to yours, we wish you health, happiness, and many accomplishments.